Shanti. 5th of October 2023, Baapdada Sakar Murli. In the essence, Baba says, sweet children, have all relationships with the Father, and your bondages will end. Maya ties you in bondage, whereas the Father liberates you from bondage. Question: who is said to be free from bondage? What is the way to become free from bondage? Answer: free from bondage means bodiless. Bodies or bodily relationships should not pull your intellects to them. There is bondage in body consciousness. Become soul conscious and all your bondages will end. To die alive is to become free from bondage. It should remain in your intellects that it is now the final period and that the play is about to end. We are going to our Father's home, and so we will become free from bondage. Song. The storms and hurricanes can do nothing to those whose companion is God. Om Shanti. The Father sits here and explains to you, children. There are so many children here, and so the Father would surely be unlimited. The Father explains to you. It is said, incorporeal Shiv Baba. Brahma is also called Baba. Vishnu and Shankar would not be called Baba. Shiva is always called Baba. The image of Shiva is separate from the image of Shankar. The song says, salutations to Shiva. It is then said, you are the mother and father. It is easy to explain that only incorporeal Shiva can truly be called the Father. He is the Father of all souls. Shankar and Vishnu are not incorporeal. Shiva is called incorporeal. There are the images of all of them in the temples. There are so many images on the path of devotion. The highest and high images of Shiv Baba. Then there are the images of Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar. Each of them has a form. Jagadamba and Jagatpita also have forms. Lakshmi and Narayan also have corporeal forms, whereas God alone is incorporeal. However, by calling him just God, people have become confused. When you ask them what their relationship with God is, they would say that He is the Father. Therefore, you have to prove that He is God, the Father. The Father is the Creator, and so the Mother is also needed. How can the Father create the world without the Mother? When will that Father come? Everyone calls out, O purifier of the impure, come. The whole world is now impure. It is only when it is impure that he would come and purify it. This proves that the Father definitely has to come into the impure world, but according to the drama, no one is able to understand this. It is only when they don't understand that the Father comes and explains. The Father sits here and explains to you, children. Knowledge and devotion are only remembered in Bharat. Then they also speak of the day of Brahma and the night of Brahma. There is extreme darkness at night. It is remembered that when the Satguru gave the ointment of knowledge, all the darkness of ignorance was dispelled. Human beings have so much ignorance that they don't even know the Father. There is no other ignorance such as this. Even after saying, Supreme Father, O God the Father, if they don't know Him, there is no greater ignorance than this. When children say Baba and then say that they don't know his occupation, name or form, they are called foolish, senseless ones. The mistake of the people of Bharat is that they call him the Father and yet they don't know him. They sing, O God the Father, come and purify the impure, liberate us from sorrow, remove our sorrow and give us happiness. The Father only come once. You know this number-wise. Some don't understand that they are to claim their full inheritance from the Father. They don't have the full introduction of the Father and they therefore ask, what can I do? I have bondages. If you know how to die alive, your bondages will end. When a person suddenly dies, he is liberated from his bondages. Now, everyone's bondages are going to end. You have to become free from bondage that is bodiless while alive. The Father says, forget the bondages of your bodies, etc. Consider yourselves to be souls and remember me, your Father. However, you feel it to be a bondage when you become body conscious. You then say, how can I become free? The Father says, you may live at home with your families, but it should remain in your intellects that you have to return home. When a play is about to end, the actors become detached from the play. While playing their parts, their intellects are aware that a short time remains and that after playing their parts they will return home. You too have to keep it in your intellects that it is now the end. We are now going into divine relationships. While living in this old world, it should remain in your intellects that you are going to the Father. You sing, we will surrender ourselves to you. We will belong to you while we are alive. We will forget our bodies and all bodily relationships and have a relationship with you alone. Since you have that relationship, remember Him and love Him. Connect your low intellects in yoke to the Father, your beloved, and the rust that has covered you will be removed. Yoga has been remembered. All other yoga are physical. You have yoga with your maternal and paternal uncles, gurus and saints, etc. The Father says, remove your yoke from all of them and remember me alone. Have yoga with me alone. Do not become body conscious. While acting through your bodies, have the faith that you are playing your parts. It is now the end of this old world, and we now have to return home. You have to go beyond bodies and all bodily relationships. Talk to yourselves in this way. You now have to go to the Father. Some have the bondage of a wife, some have the bondage of a husband, and some have a bondage of someone else. Baba shows you many methods. Tell them we have to become pure and definitely make Bharat pure. We become pure and serve with our bodies, minds, and wealth. However, first of all, you have to become destroyers of attachment. If you are a destroyer of attachment, write a letter to the government and they will also cooperate it. Tell them God speaks. Lust is the greatest enemy. We want to conquer it and become pure. The Father's orders are, become pure and you will become the masters of heaven. We have had visions of destruction and establishment. They are now causing obstacles to us for becoming pure and beat us. We are doing true service of Bharat. Now give us asylum. However, you have to be true destroyers of attachment. Sannyasis leave their homes and families. Here, you have to live with your families and become destroyers of attachment. The path of the sannyasis is separate. Human beings say, while we live at home with our families, give us such knowledge that we can attain liberation and liberation in life just as King Janak did. You are now receiving that knowledge, Baba says. This one is my wife and I create people through his mouth. He says this through the mouth of Prajapita Brahma. Shiv Baba says to you, you are my grandchildren. This one then says, you become my children and then become Shiv Baba's grandchildren. You receive the inheritance from him. No human being can give you the inheritance of heaven. Only the incorporeal gives you that. So devotion is separate from knowledge. In devotion, they read the Vedas and scriptures, have sacrificial fires, do tapasya, make donations and perform charity. There are a lot of expenses in those. All of those are paraphernalia of the path of devotion. Devotion begins in the copper age. When deities go on to the path of sin and become impure, they can no longer have the name deities because deities are completely viceless. When they go on to the path of sin, they become vicious. So, it would be said, those of the deity religion became impure by going on to the path of sin. Impure ones cannot be called deities, and this is why they are called Hindus. They have used the name Arya in the Vedas and scriptures. The name Arya refers to the land of Bharat. Now, where did that word come from? The word Arya doesn't exist in the Golden Age. They say 3000 years before Christ, the deities in Bharat were very sensible, and then, when those same deities became vicious in the Copper Age, they were called Anarya, unreformed ones. Someone said Arya and the name continued. Just as one person said or wrote God Shri Krishna speaks, and everyone began to believe that. Although these things, salutations to Shiva, and you are the mother and father, they don't know how he becomes the mother and father or when he creates his creation. He must surely create it at the beginning of the world. When would it be the beginning of the world? The golden age or the confluence age? The father doesn't come in the golden age. Lakshmi and Narayan come at the beginning of the golden age. Who made them into the masters of golden age? He doesn't even come in the iron age. This is the conference age of this cycle, the father says. I come at the conference age of every cycle, when all souls have become impure and the world has become old. The father comes when the cycle of the drama is ending. You children have to be very clever, and you also have to imbibe divine virtues. They are now holding a conference about the benefits of studying the Vedas and why one should study the Vedas. They won't be able to come to any solution, and they will then have the same type of conference next year. They sit down to solve something, but nothing is solved. Preparations for destruction continue to be made. They also continue to manufacture bombs. It is now the Iron Age. Only you children know these things. The things you say are unique. You know that human beings cannot grant liberation or salvation to human beings. The purifier is remembered. So why do they not consider themselves to be impure? This is an impure world, an ocean of poison. Not everyone can become the boatman. You children have not yet received that power to be able to explain fully. You have not yet become that clever. You don't even have yoga. Even now you continue to cry like little children. You are unable to tolerate the storms of Maya. There is a lot of body consciousness. You don't become soul conscious. Baba repeatedly tells you, consider yourself to be souls. We now have to return home. All the actors are playing their own parts. They will shed their bodies and return home. You just have to observe as detached observers. Why do you have attachment to bodily relationships and to your bodies? You don't become bodiless, so your sins are not being absorbed. If you continue to remember the Father, your mercury of happiness will rise. Shiv Baba is teaching us, and we will then become deities, and so there should be limitless happiness. You know that when the people of Bharat were in happiness, all the rest were in the land of Nirvan, the land of peace. There are now so many billions of human beings. You are now making effort to attain liberation in life. All the rest will return home. The old world has to be made new. Only the Father would make it new. The sapling is being planted. This is the sapling of divine flowers. You are becoming flowers from thorns. When the garden is completely ready, this forest of thorns will be destroyed. It has to be set ablaze. We will then go to the garden of flowers. Why should you not follow Mama and Baba? It is remembered. Follow the mother and father. You know that Mama and Baba will become Lakshmi and Narayan. They are the ones who have taken 84 births. The same applies to you. These paths are the main ones. It is written that the Father has come and is once again establishing the Sun and Moon dynasty, self-sovereignties. It is explained to you so much and yet your body consciousness doesn't break. My husband, my child. Oh, but they are old relationships of the old world. Mine is one Shiv Baba and none other. It is very difficult for you to finish your attachment to all bodily beings. The Father understands when it appears to be very difficult for someone's attachment to break. His or her face is seen to be like that. Kumaris become very good helpers. Acha. To the sweetest beloved long lost and now found children, love, remembrance and good morning from the mother, the father, Baapdada. The spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children. Spiritual children in return to the spiritual father says good morning, namaste, namaste, namaste. Thank you so much, Baba. Essence for Dharna. Remove your attachment from everything, including your body, and make full effort to become bodiless. Observe as a detached observer the part of every actor. Become free from bondage. Point number 2. Go beyond this old world. Talk to yourself. I now have to return home. It is now the end of the old world. My part has now come to an end. Blessing. May you be an embodiment of attainments and experience completion by becoming full of all the treasures. May you be an embodiment of attainments and experience completion by becoming full of all the treasures. Explanation to this. When it is the full moon, that fullness is a sign of its completion, for it will not grow any bigger than that. Its fullness is that much. There would be no more growth. In the same way, when you children are full of knowledge, yoga, dharana and service, that is when you are full of all treasures. This fullness is called completion. Because such full souls are embodiments of attainment, they are also constantly close in their stage. Slogan. To attain total success with your divine intellect is to become an embodiment of success. To attain total success with your divine intellect is to become an embodiment of success. Acha. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti.